Skinamarink is a 2022 Canadian experimental horror movie, written and directed by Kyle Edward Ball in his feature directorial debut. The film follows two children who wake up in the middle of the night and can't find their father, and that windows, doors, and other objects in the house are disappearing. So I just got done seeing Skinamarink. I went and saw it in the theater. Yes, I know it was leaked not too long ago, and it's easy to find on any of the pirate websites. But I wanted to support the film, the creators, because if you go and watch something pirated, then basically they're working for free. They're creating this piece of art completely for free, and I don't work for free. You shouldn't work for free. So that's just how I feel about it. I'm not judging you, you do you, but for me, that's how I feel about it. The other reason I went and saw it in a theater is because I wanted to see it the way that it was meant to be seen, not necessarily on a little laptop or computer or phone, whatever. I don't know if you can hear that, but my cute little rat is over there drinking water, hasn't been doing that this whole time, and then all of a sudden I start recording, and bam, she jumps on the little water thing, lick, 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 getting her water. Great timing, girl. Her name is Speckle. I'll throw a picture up. But anyway, hopefully you won't hear that noise and it won't distract you too much. But so I have a lot of feelings and thoughts about this movie. For one, you're going to hear a lot of people saying this movie is boring and absolute trash and stupid and all of that. You're going to see and hear other people saying that it's the scariest thing they've ever seen. And in some ways, I think they're both right. Because I can easily see how you could be bored with this. And stupid, I don't know, that you know, trash, stupid, I'm not sure about all that, but boring and slow, I totally understand that. The first hour of this movie is rough, man. It is really hard to get through it. This is a very experimental type of movie that moves extremely slow. And I think the whole point of it is to lull you into this weird state of like relaxation and almost numb to everything around you, and it makes you feel almost like you're in this weird dream state. And I feel like that goes really, really well in setting up the way this movie, or what this movie is trying to do and say. But I also think in the final 45 minutes or so of this movie, it gets pretty damn scary. And I could see, depending on who you are, this could really, really scare you. It gets really creepy, unnerving, and there's just some really, like, you don't see much of anything in this movie. That's one of the things that makes it so experimental and can be difficult to watch for some people. So you don't see any gore. You don't see really almost anything. But there's just little hints of things here and there, and the way they're presented catch you off guard and can be very, very scary. On top of that, the sound, the way it's done is very, very creepy. There's these loud sounds out of nowhere, but they're not like a jump scare. They're just, it's really weird, kind of annoying, but also creative kind of way. And when I say you don't see anything, I mean, it's really weird. The whole thing is shot very lo-fi, very, very low quality, and it's set in 1996, and it feels like it was shot with just like a camcorder, like a really low budget kind of camcorder, and just recording this whole house. It's really strange because you never see anybody's faces. You'll see a silhouette of a kid. You'll see them from behind. A lot of times you just see their legs. Other times you just are focused for long takes, you know, long shots on one object. It'll zoom in on one toy and you'll hear stuff going on, but all you're looking at is just this toy. Or it'll zoom in on the TV. It does this quite a bit. And there's these old public licensed cartoons on this TV, and it just kind of zones in on that for long stretches of time. And that's also when you got to pay attention, because you hear these little weird things going on behind you. Sometimes it'll throw up text so you can really know what's being said. Other times you just kind of got to strain to hear these little whisper voices. Everything is whispery, 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 and then this weird loud sound. There's this creepy loud voice that's kind of the entity, so to speak, or whatever it is. It's really going to be up for you to decide what you think this movie's about or what it even does. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of Eraserhead by David Lynch. Just a very experimental, creepy, unnerving movie that can definitely try your patience and forces you to really kind of just zone out and let it just happen to you. It's a very strange kind of situation and feeling that you get from watching something like this. But it also really, really reminds me of some of the newer stuff that's been happening on the internet, this newer horror, like the Backrooms, but also it reminded me even more of the Mandela Catalog. It's this very lo-fi series of images and short little videos, like almost like GIFs, and it's really strange, and it shows you these bizarre images or tells you these really kind of bizarre stories. It's what's really popular with a lot of younger kids, and I was introduced to it by some teenagers, and it's very creepy, and it's very different, and very original, but it also is very low quality, very slow moving, and forces you into these weird state of mind. In a lot of ways, you freak yourself out because of the anticipation building so much, because nothing happens for these long stretches of time, and that's how this movie is. I almost don't even think of this as a movie. It's very much an experimental, like art house type of film. This is almost like something you'd see from a student in a class situation or in an art gallery, and that's part of why I was able to watch this and enjoy it and appreciate what they were trying to do, because I've seen some straight up art video things in all the years I did art in galleries and these experimental films to do with noise or visuals, and they're that way. They're very, very slow moving, and they force you into this state of mind and force you to really kind of stick with them to see what the artist, the filmmaker, is trying to say. But I'm not gonna lie, the first hour of this is so tedious. I really struggled to stay awake, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, I really was dozing at times and forcing myself to stay awake because really nothing happens. It's just slowly kind of putting you in this situation and setting you up, and things are kind of little by little happening, but so slow. But then it starts to finally go there, and things start to change. It's probably around 45 minutes in. Not an hour, probably about 45 minutes in, but it starts to change, and it gets more and more creepy, more and more disturbing, and I found it to be more and more interesting. From there, I wasn't bored at all, at least for me, but I think in a lot of ways, it sets you up. That first 45 minutes puts you into this right headspace to see this. So I've seen people say it's so long, it didn't need to be long, it could have been a short, and I don't think it could have. I think if it was a short, it would have lost a lot, because it wouldn't have had that time to build you and put you into this state of mind. I've heard the creator of this said that his whole goal was to create this state of mind that you get when you're sick or when you're a little kid and you're kind of half asleep, half awake. You wake up from like a really deep sleep and everything is foggy and unreal and just this weird state that your mind is in, where part of it's like still in dreamland and the other part is starting to see reality, but it really morphs reality into this weird, surreal state. But I have a huge level of respect for the filmmaker, because what he did here is very unique. And it reminds me in a lot of ways when found footage first started. Like when I went and saw Blair Witch, and how Blair Witch did scare me a lot more than this, but I was also a lot younger. But just how unique it was. It made you feel totally different than anything you'd really ever seen before. And for better or worse, even if you hated it, that's such a cool thing to say, something that's this original and different. I don't know if we'll see more films like this per se. I think it is too long and really does ask you to be patient for so long that the majority of people are really going to struggle to watch this. But I also do think the right people it's really going to get to them. They're going to really feel it. It's going to really creep them out, and they're going to really appreciate this whole experience. Because in so many ways, it feels more of like an experience than it is to going to see a movie. Like, it very much feels, like I said, like almost like going to an art exhibition. This feels really like you experience this state of being change. It's really, really a trip. But just the way that it's shot, there's so much ingenuity in everything involved in this. And the fact that he did this for $15,000 and it's actually in theaters, it may only be in theaters for 2 days like it was this weekend. So they may not come back next weekend, I don't know. But even just to say that it was in a theater at all and it's going to be on Shudder for $15,000 is mind-blowing. Like, over the last few years, I've spent almost that amount of money just on this channel for audio, computers, like just this and that. Like, you spend a lot of money when you create art of any kind. And a film, like, that's just mind-blowing. A really good friend of mine made a very, very, very micro-budget movie. And it was like beg, borrowing, and stealing everything you could think of. And he had like 30 grand. So 15 grand to do anything is just mind blowing. So that alone, I think, deserves respect. It may not be your thing. Definitely, this is not going to be for everyone. I think a lot of people are really going to be like, what is this? What did I just go see? And so I'm trying to warn you, but also give you my point of view and how I feel about it. This may not be your bag, but if you can be patient enough and get into that state of mind, it's a really, really interesting experience and something that for the right people, I highly, highly, highly recommend. But you gotta be the right people. You gotta really enjoy slow burn and artsy kind of things, because I'm really into that stuff, and yet I still really struggled with it. So like I said, for the right people, I think you'll really dig this. But for most people that need any kind of action, any kind of storytelling, because there's almost really no story here, there's no real character development, because you're not even really seeing the faces. It's more of just like these weird situations that keep happening and building. And it does have some really like creepy concepts and ideas and things that it makes you think and feel towards the end that I think are worth it, if you're the right type of person anyway for it. So that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching this, and I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate Army over on Patreon, because you guys, your support means so much to me. And if you would like to find out how you can help support this channel and become a part of the Ghost Pirate Army, there's a link down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. If you enjoyed this, click right here to see my Feed Me review. And I'll see you guys next time.